What's up guys, welcome back, and in this video I'd like to explore an alternate way of component communication using an event bus. An event bus allows all components to emit and listen in on custom events and is not limited to only parent-child communication like in the last video. So an event bus is just another global Vue instance that only has one job, or two jobs depending on how you look at it. It's responsible for dispatching events and listening for them. And like I said before, any component has access to this global event bus. So if we go into our code, to make this event bus, just go into the entry point, and in our case, it's in main.js. And all we have to do is define a global event bus like this, event bus, and make it a new Vue instance. And that's it. There are a few other ways to do this. For example, you can export it and then import it in your components, but I like this way since there's no other steps. Just make sure that this name you use for it is somewhat unique, or you might overwrite something else on the window object. Alright, so let's save that. Let me do this again. We do this, and we do this. And now we can use that event bus in our to-do items, and we'll replace what we did last time using this event bus. Okay, let's look for where we emitted events. So there's only two cases. So the only change we have to do here is instead of this emit, we can call our event bus. So event bus emit, same with this one. And now in our parent component, instead of listening in up here when it's received right here, so we can remove this, remove to do, and finish edit. Now this gets defined in our code instead of on this component. So down to our script, let's create a new section here called created, and this will get called when the component is created. And now we can do event bus, let me just move this up, dot $on. We can listen for those two events. So removed to do, and that's just a function that takes in an index, and we're just going to call the remove to do that we already have and pass in the index. And the same for the other one, which is finished edit, and that's taking in some data, and then we're just going to call this finished edit, and we're going to pass in the data. That's it, and this should work. So let's double check. Let's check if removing still works, and it does. And let's check if editing still works. Take over world right now, and it looks like it does. Yep, cool. If you take a look at the dev tools, you can see those events firing. Sorry, this one. So there you go, remove to do, and it's emitted by the root because we have that event bus that we created right now. And there you go, you see those events emitting. Cool. Alright, so one advantage of this over the last way we did it is that you can communicate between siblings now. You couldn't do that in the last video, so let me add some functionality so that siblings can communicate with each other. So I couldn't think of a practical example, so we'll just make one up that makes no sense. So what I want to have here is a button that pluralizes the sibling components. It pluralizes itself and any other to-do items. Again, stupid example, but I couldn't think of something practical. So let's go ahead and put a button in here. Sorry, it should be in the to-do item. So right here, I'm going to add just another div here. And I'm going to wrap this in here. And I want to make another one called plural. And when we click that, we want to call a button called a method called pluralize. Pluralize. Okay. Let me just change this to a span. Just so it inline like that. So it's inline like that. Cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and make that method called pluralize. So we'll put it right here. Pluralize. And all we're going to do is emit an event on the event bus. And we'll call it pluralize. Okay. Now let's listen for that event over here. Let's create a created section. And let's just listen for that. So event bus dot on pluralize. We want to call a function called this dot handle pluralize. And let's go ahead and make that. So handle pluralize. So all we want to do is change the title and add an S. So save that, see if that works. See if that works. So plural, and it adds an S. Okay, cool. But it's only changing our to-do item. It's not changing our single source of truth. If we look here, you'll see that the name is still takeover world. So all we want to do is just emit another event similar to this. Not similar, exactly like this. Let's just grab this and put it in here. It's probably a good idea to extract this to a helper method, but I'll just leave that for now. So let's do pluralize. And now the single source of truth should be updated as well. There you go. Cool. Alright, let me just demonstrate a weird side effect, and then I'll show you how to fix it. So if I add a few, and if I check some, and I clear completed, and then I try pluralizing it, then you'll see that that has a weird side effect, and one of the old ones that we deleted comes back. And this is because the event handler for this one still lives, even though we deleted that component already. So we have to make sure that we remove that event listener right before it's destroyed. So right here, we can do before destroy, and we can just grab this, paste it in, and instead of this on, we can call this off. So just make sure that we, clean up the event handlers if we no longer need them. So now, let's try it again. add a few, another, check a few of them, clear completed, and pluralize, and now that works properly. Cool. Again, it's a really dumb example, but it just demonstrates the ability for sibling components to communicate with one another. Okay, now that we have our event bus in place, I'd like to extract out more components in our application just so we can further demonstrate this communication. This is probably overkill since our application is so small, but again, we're just doing this for demo's sake. So I want to extract all of these into their own components. So this check all, this items remaining, this filter functionality, and this clear completed. So let's start with the easiest one, which is probably this items left or items remaining. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's add a new one called to do items remaining .view. And let me just grab, actually I'll just start from scratch. Template is going to be just wherever our items remaining is. Where is it? Right here. It's just this basically. Just going to take this out, put it here. We'll leave that. So for the script, let's give it a name of to do remaining, and let's accept some props. The only prop we're going to accept is the remaining computer property from our parent component. Type number. Again, you don't have to do it this way if you don't want to, but I like being more explicit. Okay, so now in here we can just call that to do items remaining, to do items remaining, and that should still work. Oh, we have to pass in the prop. So remaining is remaining. That should still work, hopefully. Okay, doesn't work. Oh yeah, I forgot to register it. In here, we have to import it. Do that, and we have to put it in here. Let me just grab this. Cool. And it's saying that missing remaining. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Remaining. Sorry. There you go. And it still works, hopefully. 0, 1. Okay, cool. Okay, now let's work on this check all and extract that to a component. So I'm just gonna duplicate this and rename it to do check all.view. Okay, and check all, and let me just change this. Check. Actually, let me just grab this from the root component. So the check all, where's that? Right here. Yeah, so it's everything here. I'm just going to grab that and I'm just going to paste that in there. And I'm going to accept a prop called any remaining. This should be a Boolean, and it should be required. Okay, now back to our root component, and let's add that in there. So to do check all, let's pass in that prop. Any remaining is any remaining, and let's make sure we import it. To do check all, to do check all, to do check all, and right here. Cool. Did I not save that? Okay. What's the error? Okay, so check all to-dos is not defined. So let's take this off for now. Okay. So checking it should still work, but when we check this, it's not going to work. Okay. So let's bring back that method, and we don't want to call this method. We want to make a new one called all checked within this component. So let's add a methods section. All we're going to do is, so all checked, we're going to emit an event on the event bus, and then we can listen in on the parent and do what we did before. So check all changed, and we're going to pass in this dot any remaining. And now in the parent, so to do list, we can just go here where we're listening in on events, and we can listen for that. So just copy one, and I think it was called check all changed, check all changed, and we're taking in if it's checked, and we can just call, we have a method called check all to-dos within here, to-dos, and we'll just pass in that checked parameter, and it's just this one that we created before, and then now that should work. So what's going on here? I think I didn't define that correctly. Let me check. Again, a typo. Let's try it again. Okay, no more warnings, and now this should work. And it does. Cool. Now let's work on this filtered section. So I'm going to close these. To do check all, we don't need that. Okay, so let's make a new one. I'm going to copy this one, duplicate it. So to do filtered view. Okay, and I'm going to hide this. Let's put this over here. To do filtered, and then what props am I going to take in? Okay, let me just work on the template first. So I'm going to grab it from here. So where's that filtered stuff? So it's all of this stuff right here where we're changing the filters. I'm going to grab that, put it in here, the template, and let's make sure we register this component and call it as well. So to do filtered, and let me just add this here. to do filtered, to do filtered, and to do filtered. Cool. And if you remember, for our filter, we have this data property assigned, and this gets changed based on what we click over here. So we no longer need this in here. We can pass this down to the component. So here, we don't need any props for this one, but we need data. So remove this. Return an object. So filter is all by default. Make sure we have that comma. Now all we have to do is, instead of changing the filter up here, let's change it in a method, because we also have to call an event. So I'm going to do change filter, and we'll pass in the string all. Cool, and let's do that for all of them. So same for this one. And now in our methods, we can change this to change filter, and we're taking in the filter, and we're updating the data. So this dot filter is filter, and now we want to emit an event called filter changed, and we're just passing in the filter. Or you can do this filter. And now in the parent to-do list, we don't need this anymore. We can go down to our event listeners. Let's create a new one called filter changed, and we're taking in the filter, and all we're doing is updating the filter. Actually, yeah, we still need this one up here, so let's put that back. Yeah, we still need that one. Sorry about that, because this one controls the computed property that we have. Yeah, this over here. Okay, cool. So make sure you leave that in. And this should still work. So let me add a few. Let's check these. So active should be just those two, and it doesn't work. Completed should be those two. What did I do wrong? Sorry, I forgot to pass in the correct parameter, so they were all. So let's change it to the appropriate filter, and now this should work. Let's try again. Another one more. Let's check these two. Active should be those two. Okay. Completed should be those two, and we're good. We're completed. Everything is good. Cool. Okay, so the last one is this clear completed button. So let me just close this. Let me copy the check all one. Duplicate. So to do clear completed dot view, and let me take this out. We'll put that in a second. To do clear completed, and let me just grab the template from the parent. Where is it? Clear completed. Okay, so it's just a button. Let's grab this button, cut it out, and we'll do to do clear completed. And we're going to pass in a prop here, which is just show clear completed button. And let's pass in that computed property, show clear completed button. Okay. Let me just add this since we're in here already. To do clear completed. To do clear completed and to do clear completed. Cool. And let's go back in here. And the button should be here. I think I have it here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. And for the props, we can just do show clear completed button. That should be Boolean, okay. And for clear completed, let's define that. Let's just emit an event. Let's call it clear completed to do's. We don't need to pass anything in. Okay. Go back to our root component, down to our section where we define our event handlers. Let's change it to clear completed to do's. This one doesn't take anything, and we have a method called clear completed, and that should do it. Clear completed is just down here. Yeah, cool, and that should work. Add few, another, and let's clear this one and this one. Clear completed, and everything works. Cool. Now you should also make sure to, it's not really necessary, but the same way we destroyed the event handler after the component is deleted, but since we're not deleting this component, it's not necessary. So the same way we did this, we should do it in here too. Like that. And then just grab all this and change it to off. Cool. So there you have it, guys. We've managed to use a global event bus to handle our component communication and state management across multiple components. This pattern is very robust and can handle a fairly decently sized application. For even larger and more complex apps, you would probably make use of Vue.js, which is Vue's official state management library. We'll take a look at that in a future video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye.